Hi Year 1 and welcome to Maths for this week. This week we're going to be talking about half and a quarter. So Monday and Tuesday your work will mostly be about dividing things or numbers in half, so 2 equal parts. Wednesday and Thursday you'll be learning more about quarters, dividing things or numbers into 4 equal parts. Now we've used these words before, but this is just a chance for you to remember and perhaps talk with your grown-ups about them. So first of all, a half. We can write half in letters like this, H-A-L-F, half, or we can write it in numbers, a 1 and a little line and a 2. And that tells us that one thing is divided into 2 equal parts. So we're thinking about sharing between 2. So another word that you'll need to think about is whole, so the whole of something. This is the whole of my pretend pizza, the whole thing, it's not been chopped up yet. And also we need to think about the word equal, where we've got 2 groups or 2 numbers that are the same, they are equal. So if we divide something into 2 parts and one is little and one part is big, that's not equal and that's not a half. Okay, when we get to Wednesday and Thursday, we'll also be thinking about 1 quarter. Here it is in a word, quarter. One thing or one number divided into 4 equal parts. I'll come back to that in a minute. All right, so on Monday, your first job is to find the half of some shapes. You'll see shapes, you'll be imagining them cut in half. You'll be shading one half. So the thing to remember is, if I cut my pizza, if I cut it like that, that won't be half, will it? Because that wouldn't be fair. Imagine if I had this bit and I gave you a tiny little sliver like that, one of you. Wouldn't be fair. They would not be equal. So I've got to cut it very carefully down the middle to make sure that both parts are equal. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to have pizza this week or something else that you can divide into. So if I cut it in half, that looks pretty fair. Not exactly right, but just about right. So if 2 people shared that, it would be fair. So that's 2 halves making a whole pizza. So that's what you'll be doing mostly on Monday. On Tuesday, you're going to be thinking about counting a number of objects or thinking about a number and dividing that in half. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spoons here, and I'm going to share them out into 2 equal groups. That will be half. So looking at that, I can see, and I'm sure you can tell me, that half of 6 is 3. 3 plus 3 equals 6. Half of 6 is 3. You could do that with something else that you've got in your house to see which things you can divide in half. On Wednesday, we're going to think about 1 quarter. Do you remember? So I had my pizza cut in half, and to cut it into quarters, first I cut it in half like that, and then I need to cut each of those parts in half again, so that I have 4 equal pieces. There we go. 4 equal pieces. If I put them together, they make the whole, but each one is pretty much the same size. It's fair. They're equal. 4 equal parts, 4 quarters. On Thursday, you're going to be thinking about quarter of numbers. So quarter of a number, for example, 8. How would you divide 8 into 4 equal parts? Easiest if you use objects. So I've got 8 pens here, and I'm going to share them into 4 groups. 1 group, another group, and 2 more groups here. So 1 quarter, I can say 1 quarter of 8 is 2, because each of these groups has 2 pens. I can also say 4 lots of 2 makes 8, can't I? Because if I put them all together again, I've got 8. And if I know, there's a very tricky question at the end on Thursday. If I know that 2 pence is 1/4 of a number of pence, I can think in my head, or maybe use a pen or pencil to work this out. This is 1/4. 2 more is a half of my number. 2 more is 3/4 of my number. And 2 more is my whole number. So I can say 2 is 1/4 of 8. That's where it gets a bit tricky. We're working backwards. I want you to do your best and look out on Friday for Mr. Turner's whole school maths challenge, which I hope you're going to have a go at. Please do send by email or Purple Mash any work you've done on that Friday challenge, or you can, if you want us to look at your work during the week, you're also very welcome. All right, hope you enjoy it. Bye.